Alright guys, now for the sake of this part, I'm just going to go through some ban lists that I think you could call them emergency ban lists, because Konami noticed that these cards upon release were extremely powerful or oppressive, or there was just something about them that What's up guys, Daily Kamel here, and welcome to a quick episode of What Does Kamel Think? I'm going to be talking about something that a lot of people have been talking about recently, and a lot more recently because of the card that I have on screen, and that topic is going to be, does Darklords need a emergency ban, or do they need several cards from the now optimal deck list on the next ban list, or on a ban list before the KC Cup begins? That is what people would refer to as an emergency ban list. So we'll get into some examples of some emergency ban lists later, but let's kind of get into first why Darklords are getting to this point, and why this new card makes that so much crazy, right? So it's not too much to explain. Star Lords, right? Stick and Share Darklords is an extremely consistent Xyz deck that has a lot of draw power and a lot of sustainability from how Darklords are able to reuse themselves, keep themselves on the field, and creating a card advantage for you while limiting your opponent's monster effects, and while you are doing that, you're also drawing like crazy with your Star Seraphs and your Xyz summoning, and creating leads for yourself every single turn. So the deck is very consistent, it has great card economy, and it is extremely easy for you to snowball a lead with just about any opening hand. So one of the only decks that can stand up to Stick It Star Lords is Blue Eyes. Now Blue Eyes, not as consistent as Star Lords, but it has some pretty explosive effects, and the monsters have pretty nice staying power with Spirit Dragon, and they can create Blue Eyes monsters during the end phase very easily. Now, this comes in comes FA Hang On Mock, an SR card and the rarest card of the FA archetype, just added to Duel Links. This is a level 4 wind monster. Gains attack equal to its level times 300, unaffected by activated effects from an opponent's monster whose original level is lower than this card's level. Each time a FA spell trap card is activated, you can increase this card's level by 1. If this card is level 7 or higher, any card sent to your opponent's graveyard is banished instead. So this card is essentially used in the FA archetype. You're supposed to use a bunch of spell and traps to manipulate your FA's level, and then boost it up with its own crazy effects, giving it 300 times its level. It cannot be destroyed by opponent's monsters or effects, no activated effects, and it banishes all of that stuff from the graveyard as well. So why is this being broken? It is because of this. Alright, so if we come over here to 5D's world, we have the skill level augmentation. Reveal one monster in your hand and select one monster on your side of the field. The selected monster's level increase by the level of the monster you revealed. The skill can only be used once per duel. Now yes, this skill is being used to absolutely break FA Hang On Mock. You use this, you reveal a Darklord monster in your hand. When you have summoned the FA Hang On Mock, you do not even have to summon the Darklord monster because they all have obscenely high levels, 9, 10, 11 in all of the levels of that kind. And you increase your Hang On Mock to level 13 or 14. Because you can't chain cards to the activation of a skill, this goes into effect immediately. You immediately cannot be destroyed by your opponent's monsters or card effects, and you start banishing cards that your opponent would send to the graveyard. They get banished instead right away. So you could already see how this hurts Blue Eyes. They cannot banish their Whitestone. They cannot. I mean, they cannot discard their Whitestone with any of their discard cards, like Cards of Consonance, Melody of Awakening Dragon. They can't send it to the graveyard with Sage. All of those scenarios, their Whitestone and Ancients will be banished instead, and they won't be able to remove the Hang On Mock from the field with the activated effects of Vermilion Dragon Mech, Blue Eyes Alternative Dragon, or Heretic Sun Dragon Overlord of Heliopolis. So it is shutting down just about all forms of counterplay from the other best deck in the format, and most of the other decks really don't stand a chance against Car Lords, is what we're calling it, as you would have seen on the power rankings if you want to go check out that video. So now, we've already established why this deck is so crazy good right now. Let's look at some other examples of when Konami felt it was necessary to do an emergency or preemptive ban list. We're going to compare them. Okay, so here's our Darklord deck list. Now keep in mind, we have Ishel Contact at 2 and Sanctified at 1. Now as for the other Darklord cards we have in the deck, only Tez and Nastin are played as like absolutes. Desires Tecton sometimes, but even it's not seen as much now that FAs are in the deck. So keep those cards in mind for the Darklord engine. As for Star Seraph, before we get into the other emergency bans, I don't know how much you can really limit the Star Seraph engine. I think, from what I've seen right now, that they're going to have to absolutely murder the Darklord engine. So let's look through history at some other emergency ban lists. First, we've got the most recent Battle Unboxer Veil. Just extended games way too long in the KC Cup it was first introduced in, and they just did not want it to become a problem. And I'm glad that they removed it, because that card is really great at giving decks that don't really have defensive options a chance. So, yeah, great that it is not here. How does that compare to Stick and Share Dark Lords? Car Lords right now, I don't think that they are there. They are extremely oppressive, but as you will see as some of the other examples that we have to go over here, I don't think that they come rather close, right? So let's check it out. Something that many of you may remember long ago, Bamboo was an FTK strategy. It had a couple cards. The Woodland Sprite was banned, and then the Golden Bamboo Sword was quickly banned after its release, a month after, I believe, on New Year's Day. So that qualifies as an emergency ban list, or something that had to happen very quickly, because they had to remove this toxic strategy with little to no counterplay from the game. And yes, I think that is going to be a big thing about emergency ban lists, right? Counterplay and enjoyability, right? FTK strategies are non-interactive, non-enjoyable, so it is something that they definitely want to get rid of. Stick and Share Dark Lords, again, I think people have to think differently when they look at a meta deck versus something that has no counterplay. So let's look at something else that maybe you could say did have some counterplay, but it still got hit very quick on its release. Kiteroid and Assault Blackwing Rhykyria the Rain Shower. Blackwings got hit. This was Blackwing's very first hit. Rhykyria was the most powerful boss monster, being able to play multiple of them along with cards like Enemy Controller, Treacherous Trap Hole, Hey True Nade was very powerful in Blackwings at the time, so this was to remove their access to semi-limited cards. That's to be expected. Dark Lords already don't have access to semi-limited cards. Kiteroid also limited to 2. to make sure that decks that ran 7 limited cards couldn't run this, and also that you could not run 3 and make this card overly oppressive than it needs to be. So again, I think we're looking at different things here. These are not things that were just very strong that were emergency banned. They were things that were, straight up, they were problematic, or they were going to be problematic very soon. Another one that people will remember that happened very close, and this one is something that a lot of people argue about, is not that one. It is the emergency banning of Witchcrafter Holiday. Yes, this was limited to 3 so that it cannot be used with Charge of Lightsworn, and just basically they wanted to get rid of the mill strategy in this deck, and this was an easy way to do it. Now, this was maybe not an emergency nerf, but it removed this because they wanted to promote other things. Is the only real reason that I can say. The mill strategy is not something that Konami really historically likes, so it doesn't surprise me that they wanted to get rid of it. Has Darklords displayed any of that yet? You could argue that. Evilswarm Ouroboros is a new card that rips a card out of your opponent's hand before they can do anything about it on turn 1. Is it to the level of something like this, though, or some of the other things we were talking about? I don't think so. I think that the cards in Darklords, or whatever you want to call it, they all come together very nicely to make a extremely consistent, extremely powerful deck to combat the most powerful deck right now, which is Blue Eyes. Now, the only thing in this deck list that I think going forward should receive a hit would be Darklords, and I think that would be it for Darklords. Banishment, a main box, you are probably not going to get hit, so I believe Tez will maybe also be put to 2 with Ishel. Tez plays a large part in Darklord's survivability when that is all that you have to rely on. If you don't draw your Stick and Share or your FA Engine, if you're still able to cycle your Darklords until you get those cards, you can survive, and Tez helps you do that a lot. I think Herf has also talked about Tez being the next card for Darklords to be limited, and I would honestly just hope that is enough. It would really suck to lose a great engine like Star Seraph because of Darklords, right? Part of the most competent Xyz engine right now. It would be a shame for it to be brought down by Darklords. The same with FAs. They've just been added to the game as a part of like the Synchro resurgence. It would really suck if they would get hit because of an old deck becoming good again. So let me know what you guys think. I do not think Darklords need an emergency ban list, but I do think in the coming future, when the next one happens, they need to look at putting a nail in the coffin for the Darklord engine for good, because it has proven time and time again to be pretty toxic in Duel Links. So let me know what you guys think. Do you really fear Darklords? Do you think it's just the hotness of this meta and it'll be gone the next one, or do you think it's here to stay for a while? Peace out, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.